Okay, today's lesson's on lesson 4.2 equivalent ratios. Now, some of this we went over prior, so I'm not going to go over everything, but let's go over the ones that may be a little bit trickier. So to do a ratio in simplest form when you have units, what you need to do is convert the units. So I convert the units into the smaller unit. So let's look at the first one. The first one I have yards and I have feet. So I notice the smallest one is feet. So I know that there's 3 feet in a yard. So it's going to be 9 times 3 is 27 feet. So it's 27 feet to 9. Sorry, let me erase that. 27 feet to 9 feet. So what we're going to need to do is we need to simplify this to reduce it. We need to reduce it, so we need to simplify. So it's, again, remember in class I like to write them as a fraction first. So it's 27 over 9. To simplify this, I notice I could take out a 9 from each. So it'll be 3 over 1 or 3 to 1. So it's going to be 3 feet to 1 feet or 3 to 1. Next one, you have to convert to days for number 5. And number 32, you're going to need to, you can do either way. What you could do is convert it to cups, because ounces, you have 8 ounces equal 1 cup. Or you can convert it to pints, to ounces if you want to. So you could convert the pints to ounces. So this is one of those that you could go basically either way, because, again, we could convert the ounces to cups and the pints to cups, or keep it as ounces and convert the pints to ounces. So just to help you out a little bit, there's 8 ounces in a cup. There's 2 cups for every pint. So either way would work. So that one you guys could work on. To see if they're equivalent or not. So this is one way to do it, is to cross multiply. So 13 over 15 equals 30. And remember, the first one's always a numerator, 26. And you could do one of two things. You could try reducing this first and see if it equals a 13 over 15, or cross multiply. And if you cross multiply and they're equal, then you're set. Find the missing term. We did this the other day, so I think you should be okay. I would make them into fractions first, and you could either A, cross multiply, or C, how many times, how bigger the numerator is, or how, or smaller, meaning this. For the first one, number 9 here, we could say 9 times what? So how much bigger is the second one? So it's times 3. So you have to, whatever you do numerator, you must do to the denominator. So it'd be 13 times 3. Or you could go backwards, but it doesn't make sense to go backwards here because the missing variable or the missing denominator is on the second one. Okay, so those you should be fine with. 17, it says use division to find all the whole number ratios equivalent to 56 and 24. So division, so start with 2, divide by 2, and keep going until you get all of them. Use multiplication to find 3. So all you have to do is find an equivalent fraction. Write 5 over 11. Multiply numerator and denominator by a number. Get an answer. Then go back to 5 over 11. Multiply numerator and denominator by a different number, and then you get another answer, and so forth. Okay, boys and girls, to solve number 19, here's what we need to do. Let me just get my marker. So if you look at it, we have to complete the table, and the initial ratio is right here, and it's 3 to 2. So what it means is length is 3 and height is 2. So that's our ratio. So when I look at this, I need to, when you try to fill it out, I look to see what they give me. So in the next ratio right here, the second column, they give me the height. So I look at the height and it goes from 2 to 24, and I know that 2 times 12 is 24. So we're going to write the ratio is going to be up here. It's like an equivalent fraction. 3 times 12 is, and then that answer is going to be 36. I know it's a little sloppy. It's hard to fit it in there. Okay, so then we go to the next column, and I look at it and I see that the next ratio is going to start with 60. So it's 3 to 60, and 3 to 60 is going to be multiplying by 20. So I need to do that to our 2. So we're going to multiply that by 20. The next one you're going to look at then is 2 to 52, because that's what they give you. and so forth, so you can complete the chart like that. So let's look at the B part now. B part's a little trickier. So it says if the length of the American flag is 1.8, so we know the length comes on top, find the height. So the original ratio is 3 to 2. Let me just make this a little bigger. So the original ratio is 3 to 2. I'm going to make it as a fraction. That will equal, they give us the length, so the length is the numerator, 1.8 over x, because I don't know what I'm trying to find is the height. So if you remember in class we talked about this, there's a couple ways to do it. One way is to cross multiply. So you could cross multiply. If you cross multiply, we get, I'm right over here, 3x equals 2 times 1.8. So 2 times 1.8 is 3.6. And then you'd have to solve for x. Okay, so the next one is Nichole uses 5 ounces of mushrooms, 2 ounces of butter, and a 1/4 pint of cream. Okay, so we need to figure out the ratio. It says in A, but everything has to be converted to ounces. So what we're going to do is, we already have 2 as ounces. So the 2 are mushrooms, so it's 5 to 2 for butter, and we want to keep them in order because that's what they gave us, to a 1/4 pint of cream. So a 1/4 pint, we need to make that into ounces. So I know that for a 1/4 pint, 1/4 pint is going to equal for how many ounces? So I know that in a pint, there's 16 ounces because it's 2 cups. So I take a 1/4 of 16. And if you take 1/4 of 16, it's 16 over 4 when you multiply, or you could reduce it, so it's going to be 4. So the answer for a 1/4 pint is going to be 4 ounces. So we're going to get 4 ounces of cream. All right, so the next one, it says if she uses 15, how many pints of cream does she use? 15 ounces of mushrooms. So now what we're going to do is this. Now I'm going to draw like a little arrow. So we got to get to 15 mushrooms because that's what came first. So we multiply by 3. So we're going to multiply the 2 by 3. And then I'm going to go ahead and multiply the 4 by 3. So I get 12. So that's 12 ounces though. So now what you're going to need to do is convert the ounces, the 12 ounces, into pints. So I'm going to let you guys do that. Letter C, it says if she uses 1 pint of cream, how many ounces of butter does she use? Okay, so she uses 1 pint. So originally she used 1/4 of a pint. So if she uses, this is 1/4 of a pint. So to make a 1/4 pint into a 1/4 pint of, which is ounces, 4 ounces, to make that into 1 pint, we're going to multiply by 4 because it's 1/4. So you got to make a 1/4 into a whole. To do that, you multiply by 4. So we're going to multiply everything by 4. So the 5 for butter will be, for mushrooms is 20. Times the 2 by the 4 is going to be 8. And 4 times 4 is 16, which is 1 pint. So that's 16, remember, these are all ounces. So how many ounces of butter? It's right here. It's going to be 8. Okay, so the last one says Asha mixes 50 milliliters of yogurt, 100 grams of fruit, and 250 milliliters of milk to make a regular smoothie. Okay, so what we need to do for A is figure out the ratio for everything. So the ratio is 50, which is milliliters, to 100, which is grams, to 250, which is milliliters. So you can just leave it at that. Now, we can compare them, even though they're different units, is because it's a recipe and it doesn't really matter what units we have because, for example, if for 2 smoothies, what is the ratio? So you would multiply everything by 2, meaning it would be 100 milliliters for yogurt, it would be 200 for grams of fruit, and 500 for milliliters of milk. So all you have to do is double it. For the B, it says 1 liter of milk. So we have to look at the 250. So we have 250 milliliters. Well, that is 0.25 liters. Why? Because what I did was move the decimal over. So I need to figure out how to get 0.25 into 1 full liter. So think about it. It's a 1/4. So what do you have to multiply by 1/4 to get to a liter? So I'm not going to give you an answer, but whatever you multiply a quarter by, that's what you're going to do to every single ratio, and that will help you figure out B. C says this. Asha wants to make regular smoothies for herself and 2 friends. So that's 3 people right there. And a small smoothie, that is half the size of a regular smoothie. Well, think about a half. What's a half? A half is 0.5. So what we're going to do is you have 3 friends, including herself, so that's 3 people, plus a half portion, because that's for her brother. So it's 3.5. So we need to figure out then how much milk, how much yogurt, and how much fruit. So you're going to need to go to your original ratio, which was 50, 100, 250, and that's for 1. So if the question asks for 3.5 times that, you're going to have to multiply each of the ratios, each of the terms in the ratio by 3.5. So you can multiply 50 by 3.5, 100 by 3.5, and 250 by 3.5, and that will give you your answer.